Starting off with Andrew here in Morristown, New Jersey. He's 34, married, dad, got a couple of kids that are 7 and 8. And Andrew says that he's overweight, busy, wants to be present for his family. Good for you. Good start mentally. The question comes down to, where do I realistically start with a fitness plan when I'm exhausted every day and already feel behind? Fair enough. Okay, Andrew. The first thing I see is not start a fitness plan. It's I'm exhausted every day. So before we get into talking about any kind of weight training, walking, running, cardiorespiratory fitness, any sort of training program, let's back up for a second, take a pause, and figure out why you're already exhausted every day. Now, outside of the fact that you have 2 young kids, let's not be stupid. That's exhausting, okay? Being a parent is exhausting. Living life can be exhausting. You're working, you got kids, you're trying to be there for your wife, and you're trying to have a social life. You're doing all the things that a good, full, rich life should have. However, there are things we can look at. We'll start with this one. And once again, with 2 young kids, it's tough. But you don't have toddlers. Says they're 7 and 8. So, are you sleeping? Do you have a routine? Are you taking in caffeine late in the day? And that's not just coffee. Think about everything that might have caffeine in it or high sugar stuff. Screen time. Are you taking your phone to bed with you and doom scrolling while you're lying in bed? Or are you sitting in front of one of these screens with not only the light but the data stream, and your brain focused on this BS within an hour, less than an hour before sleep, before bedtime? If so, you need to check that. You need to adjust. We might need to have, as I always talk about, might need to have the metaphorical funeral for old Andrew, so we can get rid of some of these things. So you need to create a routine for sleep. You need to go to bed and get up the same time every day. You might have to ask your family members to adjust with you. If they love you, they will. Your kids aren't going to understand this, but your kids are going to understand that dad's trying to get healthy and making some changes to do that. It's on some level they're going to understand that, and you can gamify this stuff with your kids to help with that. So get yourself a sleep routine. Start a plan. Okay, start a regimen. And get yourself into a routine and stick to that routine until it becomes innate, till it becomes self-engendering, as we talk about. Next is obviously your nutrition. There is stuff, crap, garbage that we put into our bodies that affect our energy. Are we eating a bunch of fried foods? Are we eating a bunch of oily stuff? Are we eating a bunch of saturated fat? Are we eating a bunch of industrial baked goods? A bunch of stuff that's loaded with salt and sugar. All of this stuff is going to cause hypertension, and it's going to cause inflammation. Inflammation is the #1 cause of pain, and pain means we can't sleep. How's your nutrition? I'm not asking you to think right now and break down everything that you do, but be honest with yourself, Andrew, and think, are there changes that I can make based on just like the little bullet points that I just said that can sort of nudge us in the right direction? Alcohol. Are you drinking or taking in any kind of other intoxicants? Because yes, alcohol is a depressant and it will knock us out, but it will absolutely jack with your deep sleep, and you will wake up in the middle of the night, and it will be very difficult for you to go back to sleep. Like your REM cycle and your deep sleep cycles will be interrupted, but you'll also have to get up to pee. So we need to think real hard about alcohol. And I know that it's culturally endemic, and that it's legal, and we see it and we defend it as something that's part of what we do, but it's poison. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. It is literally poison. And I hate using the word literally, but it is. I need to drive that home. And you got kids and a family. You don't need to be drinking anyway. I want you to sit down and think about do some pros and cons. Are there any pros? I mean, real, legitimate pros to consuming alcohol? Listen, you're not in your 20s. We're very stupid in our 20s, and we're trying to figure ourselves out, and the social scene basically demands that we drink, although that's changing. Gen Z is not drinking not as much as we did, for sure, Gen X, and nobody drinks as much as the boomers. What else? Screen time. I kind of talked about that with your sleep. Your screen time is going to affect your biorhythms, your brain, and your ability to rest and to reset. It's going to mess with your cortisol, and it's going to mess with your dopamine and all of the hormonal dumps that you get from screen time, because that stuff ain't designed for you to have a pleasant time. It's designed to spike your emotions and depress your emotions so that you will buy stuff. So get out of the screens. Let's make sure that we start getting those things in order. Your sleep, your nutrition, your intoxicants, your food. Let's start getting that in order so we can execute a fitness plan. Now, depending on you said overweight. Don't know what, you didn't indicate how much, so depending on the severity of your weight issue, I recommend starting with walking. Boring, I know, but you want to lose weight, you want to get healthier. Excuse me, let me back up. I try to beat that term out of my vernacular. Weight loss is one thing, fat loss is another thing. We may not need to lose a bunch of weight, but we may need to lose a bunch of visceral fat. And there's no better thing for that than low-intensity walking. Zone 2-ish, don't worry about the zones. That's stupid trainer nonsense that they try to force you to memorize. Walking 45 minutes to an hour, 3 to 4 times a week. Make time for this. Do not compromise on these things. Do you want to have better days? Do you want to have more better days? Do you want to be present, as you said, for your kids and your wife? Do this. Make time to walk. You can do it. You can find it. If you spend more than 0.0 seconds on your phone, you have time to do stuff. Do that 3 to 4 times a week with a bonus, walk after dinner. After every single dinner, unless you live in Minnesota and it's minus 12 outside, or it's pouring down rain or something like that, go for a walk after dinner. Let your food settle for 10, 15, 20 minutes and get up and go for a walk. Doesn't have to be much, 5, 10 minutes. Just get up and walk around the block. That will help your digestion, which will also lead to a healthy gut biome and more fat loss. You'd be shocked how much better you feel just by walking after dinner anyway. You won't have that kind of coma sit around after dinner, blah, like a lump on the couch whole thing. You don't need any equipment, but for minimal expense, you can get some resistance bands and a kettlebell. You can get like a 20, 25-pound kettlebell and a little pack of resistance bands for maybe like a total of about $50. And you could probably you can go on the marketplaces and the little trade sites and find used stuff for probably cheaper than that. So that is where I recommend that you start. Let's make sure that we're getting those bullet points in order. Sleep, nutrition, intoxicants, and screen time, and then let's start with some walking and then build up into some resistance training. Thanks, Andrew. Good luck, buddy. I'm here if you need me. Holler at me.